Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Nina's Chelsea Corner. If you're new round here, it's Conference League final day. Chelsea will play Real Betis in the final in Poland. I mean, it sounds even strange to say that Chelsea are in this final, in this tournament. Like, if we're told to people, or people were told us 10 years ago that we would be here today, you would have said, yeah, you're crazy. But here we are, guys, and we must get it done. Now that we've gotten here, now that we are here, we have to get it done to complete the set, to see these players lift a trophy. Guess what, guys? I'm not belittling this one today. I think it is really important that we go out there and win it tonight because, again, this group of players, they need to get their hands on some silverware, regardless of how small it seems to us fans. To them, it's going to be massive because let's be real, we've lived through the Champions League glory, we've won the Europa Leagues, we've won, Premier League titles, but these players haven't. And that's just as simple as it is. So to them, today is massive. And Enzo Maresca has spoken out and said that, we are going to go and try and win this one. Obviously, there's a lot of talk surrounding Betis and, how this is our first real test. And it is true. It is our first real test. We will actually play the first... I don't want to disrespect any teams in the competition, but really a team that has played well, that almost beat the odds as well against Fiorentina because they seem to be out of it, made it, and they're going to believe, guys, that they can win their first European final. So, I mean, yeah, it is really, really crazy for their fans. Obviously, for us, our fans, again, not so much, but I just think that, we need to go out there and certainly do our best to win it. And I think we will. I think we will. But welcome to the channel if you're new, guys. Going to take you through the game, talk about who might start, who might feature in this one, what we could expect. And yeah, it's the very, very last game. And of course the final preview. So yeah, like this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm not in Poland, as you can see, but tonight I will be live streaming my reaction after the game, so do hit the bell notification so you can be notified when I go live, so you can join me for that later on. But yeah, guys, very, very exciting. Always is when you're in something new. Again, there's no point of belittling it now. We know we're playing Champions League football next year, so it almost does feel like at least that weight is off our chest. We're not going to be in this tournament. Respectfully win it and get the hell out of there. So yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see how we line up. Maresca did allude to the fact that we will see some rotation. Players that did start on Sunday might get some rest, but equally in this competition we have so heavily rotated all season. A lot of players almost are the Conference League players that you turn to. But in this final, I think we need to set up well. We will talk about Betis in just a moment, but when you look at your opposition, they certainly do have big game players in that team, and we need to equate to that, and we certainly do have the quality and the depth, and we have the choices to be able to make in order to get us over the line. So yeah, there's a lot of speculation whether Reece James might play. He hasn't really been playing in and out, game in, game out. He has been getting some rest, but I feel like in a final, no matter how big or small, you do need your captain there. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, guys. Do you think Reece James will start, or will we perhaps see Malo Gusto there? Someone, again, who is equally capable of filling that spot. I know he has had his ups and downs, and perhaps downs and more than ups this season, but he is still a reliable player there, and I think in this competition he is absolutely capable to do a job. Obviously Philip Jorgensen will start in goal for us, that's pretty certain, but you kind of do want to go strong. Maybe do add in a maybe like one player in the forward line, and we will talk about it, but overall I think we will go strong for this one and hopefully be in a position where we are comfortably leading and can introduce some of our other players later on. But I think we should be starting strong, and then going, I don't want to say weak, but then turning to other players rather than starting weaker and then having to go stronger, if that makes sense, and inviting all that pressure. So Reece James is an interesting one, but I think Maresca maybe will start him and then take him off, hopefully to get some rest. Obviously, he's managed his minutes very well and he's been very cautious with how much game time he gets. So yeah, I think that will be probably one of the most interesting calls we will see tonight. And in terms of backline though, guys, again, you could probably mix and match here, but I think we'll see Levi Colwill start alongside Trevor Chalobah. Tosin was great, so was Colwill against Nottingham Forest, not just because of the goal, but because I think he was solid in defence that day. But to me, Chalobah, I just really want to see him in this team, guys. He deserves it so much. You know, he was part of Crystal Palace's kind of season success as well before we took him back. He's been mistreated. I just think he does deserve to play this final, and if he goes, you know, whatever happens for him and whatever his future is, he can have this moment. He deserves it. So I'd love to see Trev there. Marc Cucurella for me starts. We all know exactly why and what's waiting down that left-hand side. Everyone's been talking about it, and again, we'll get onto Batiste later on, but I think, you know, it's really important that we have some solidity there. Marc Cucurella has been absolutely fantastic for us. He deserves this. And yeah, so that would pretty much be how I think we line up at the back. Moving into midfield, Enzo Fernandez and Moi Caicedo, because again, there may be shouts for Dewsbury Hall to come into this one and maybe give one of these two a rest. And I think that could be possible. But again, I personally would opt for Enzo and Caicedo to start. Give us that stability we need. It is a final. Let them play the final as well. Do you know what I mean? I think both of them, the pair of them, have been exceptional this season. And I think they do deserve this. So it'd be nice to see them two play. And then moving up the pitch, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Some people I have seen say start Dewsbury Hall in the 10, push Palmer out on the right. Or some people are saying don't start Palmer in this game and start Dewsbury Hall and then select, I don't know, maybe like a Madueke and a Neto, or like a George and a Madueke, or something of that sort. And this again probably is equal as the Reece James question. Does Cole Palmer start in this one? And I think yes, I think he will, because again, Maresca knows that we've done a job now. The players will have time to rest and recover. Why not go out there and get a big win? Why not go out there and get a statement win? And it's not exactly like Cole Palmer's been scoring goals left, right and centre. It would mean a lot for him personally, confidence-wise. And also, Cole Palmer is a final player. He has scored for Manchester City in 2 finals. He scored for the under-21s in a final. He is, scored for England at the Euros as well. How could I possibly forget the biggest one? So, to me, that is a player that you start in a final. And I think, again, bring him off if things are going well and give minutes out elsewhere. But I would start Palmer in this one, and I would probably put him in the 10. And then you could probably mix and match here. I think let's actually talk about our centre forward, because Nicholas Jackson, I think, will start in this one. Again, Maresca spoke out about Nicholas Jackson wanting to put things right, wanting to prove himself. And I think, you know, it could actually be a very good, it could be a very good tactic to start a player who's raring to go, who missed out on our last season game where everything was so at stake and high pressure and was so fun in the end. I think he's going to have a real point to prove, and he's going to play like it's his last game. So I think Jackson actually starting in this game would be good for us. Now, in terms of the wings then, if we do obviously play Palmer, I think Noni Madueke for me is an absolute must start. Again, someone who can be a real difference maker when he wants to be, when it is his day, he knows what to do. I think, you know, against Batiste, we do need some pace and directness, and I think that Madueke offers that. It would be interesting to see who starts on the other side. I think, you know, obviously George we've played up front. I think he has played on the left. I think he can play on the right as well. But do you start a Neto or do you start a Tyrick George in this game? Because again, Tyrick George, he's literally got his own song. He has been slowly and steadily built up to be ready for these moments with the games he's been getting. And I think, you know, he could be ready, or does he come off the bench? So do we pretty much go as strong as we can without the introduction of like a Tyrick George or a Dewsbury Hall in this one? Or do we see at least one of them in there? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, so let me know. But in terms of Betis, guys, let's talk about our opposition a little bit. Real Betis have been a good side this season. I think, you know, the disparity in the quality between the sides is still quite evident, but I do think, you know, they've got players there. You know, obviously Isco stands out. You know, they've got Lo Celso, Anthony, who everyone is absolutely raring to see in the final because apparently he's going to score a hat-trick against us. You know, they've got players like Bakambu, who's been scoring goals in this tournament. So I think in terms of threat, they do have threat. They have individual threat, but they are also a very well-coached team. And I have watched a few of their games in this competition, and they do have this desire to just come out at opposition. Defensively, they do leak goals. I think that's probably one advantage for us, but again, we just have to be clinical on the night. But they do have goals. They do have goals in that team. And yeah, it could be very, very tough for us. But also it is a final, and they're going to come to this final believing that on a day, like just one final in isolation is perfectly winnable. So I don't want to underestimate them, okay? I have respect for their team. Again, I haven't watched them in La Liga, but I've watched them in this competition, and I think that they do have something about them, so shouldn't be underestimated. It is also the year of the underdogs, guys, apparently, isn't it? So hopefully that narrative doesn't stand for us tonight, and we can win it. I really, like I said, to go back to my initial point, I do want to win this trophy. Maybe not so much because I want it as a fan, but because I want it for the players, and I want the players to lift a trophy and just know and understand what it means to win. Because when you win, you crave more success, you crave more wins, and once you've tasted it once, you want to go and get it again. So from that standpoint, yeah, I do really want to win this tonight. So let me know in the comments down below how you guys feel, guys. Join me after the game for my live post-match reaction on my channel. Subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. Like this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and Chelsea, come on, let's get this trophy, let's complete the set. I hope everyone who's out in Poland has an absolutely amazing time, and yeah, and we've got something to celebrate, so we end the season on a high. Thank you, guys, take care, and I will see you tonight.